Your underwear is pink. Today. My rival, Jenny, pulled open my collar. In the classroom, classmates started whistling and taking photos. But she just patted my shoulder. Don't be mad. We're both girls. It's just a joke. Later. She became even more brazen. She'd pull down my pants when I wasn't paying attention. Yank up my skirt. She even unzipped my skirt right before my master's program interview. Later, I failed that interview. Under her constant harassment. I developed depression and took my own life. When I opened my eyes again, I'd been reborn back to the moment she was about to rip off my clothes. I grabbed her wrist hard. Her bones made a cracking sound. She cried out in pain. Let go. That hurts, I sneered. You're right. We're both girls. So how about I strip your clothes off instead? Her face froze. The laughter around us gradually died down. She wrenched her hand free and stepped back. Are you crazy? I was just joking. You just said you were messing around. I said calmly. So now I'm messing with you. What's the problem? Her face went pale. She quickly backed up and bumped into the teacher's desk. I'll apologize, okay? Her eyes reddened. It was just a joke. It's not like it's the first time. Why are you taking it seriously today? I slapped her across the face. The entire classroom fell so silent you could only hear breathing. She covered her face, eyes full of disbelief. You dare hit me? I stared at her coldly. This is the last time you touch me. Want to try again? I looked around at everyone raising my voice. She just pulled my clothes off in public. I recorded it and I'm taking it to the professor. She looked at me in shock. You recorded it? You actually recorded me? Yes. I nodded calmly, holding up my phone. The red dot was blinking. Everything that just happened all recorded. From the corner of the classroom came whispered discussion. That was pretty messed up actually. What kind of girl strips someone else's clothes? And it's not the first time. I pulled my clothes back into place, picked up my bag and calmly walked out of the classroom. Behind me she called out urgently. Claire, don't do anything crazy. I was just messing around. I didn't look back this lifetime. I'm done playing your games. That evening back in the dorm. Her smiling face still filled my mind. Don't be mad. What's wrong with girls being a little close? I sat on my bed still gripping my collar tightly. Even though I knew my clothes were fixed, I instinctively didn't dare let go. My phone suddenly buzzed, a group message from my roommate, Lisa. My hand trembled and the video auto-played. The footage shot from behind into the side clearly showed Jenny pulling my collar from behind me, stiffly covering my chest and the whole class laughing. The group chat instantly lit up. Her expression is so funny. Pink underwear is so tacky. I actually think it's kind of cute. I looked at the comments, my nails digging into my palms. When I didn't respond, Lisa sent a voice message. Come on, Claire. You're taking this too seriously. Nobody meant anything bad by it. Jenny was just playing around. Didn't you say you were mature and didn't care about this stuff? I couldn't say a word. That video got forwarded to the class chat, then to the school account. A few minutes later, some influencer account pinned it to their highlights. Hashtag, she says it's not harassment between girls. Hashtag. Hashtag pink underwear. Girls classroom meltdown. Hashtag I became a campus celebrity. The video got remixed with weird sound effects and filters, turned into memes. Comments were all, if you dress like a slut, who's to blame? She just wants attention. Probably stripped on purpose. Disgusting. Stop playing victim. I messaged the account privately asking them to delete the video. I went to find a professor. She first said, are you sure she did it on purpose? Aren't you being a bit too sensitive? Just as I was about to argue, she frowned at me. The way you dressed for class today wasn't really appropriate. Those comments you clapped back at on social media. I suggest you delete them now that you've made this such a big deal. It's not good for you either. My nose stung as I held back tears. I asked, what about the video? Shouldn't she delete it? She thought for a moment. I'll talk to her, but don't get worked up. She's also a girl. She probably didn't mean any harm. This is how it started. In my previous life, everyone kept telling me, don't be so sensitive. She just doesn't know boundaries. You're both girls. But she never pulled Lisa's clothes. Never pulled Rachel's either. She only pulled mine because I was quiet. Easy to bully, got good grades. Never argued, never fought back. Easiest target. But this time, I won't stay silent. I opened my phone and saved that video. Then exported screenshots of the chat logs. I was slowly realizing she wasn't clueless about boundaries. She was testing mine. Today was the first test. Next time she'd smile as she destroyed me. Is that the same shirt from yesterday? The professor frowned at me. Then looked down and typed on her laptop. Yes, I answered quietly. I'd washed that white shirt. But the look in her eyes made it seem like I'd worn it deliberately. To provoke someone. Do you know how widely that video has spread? She said several professors in the department have seen it. They say it reflects poorly on us. I pressed my lips together and didn't respond. Plus, you need to consider the setting. That was during an open lecture. When the professor called on you to speak. You got emotional and hit someone. Do you think that behavior is appropriate? I froze and looked up. I didn't just hit her. I was. You got emotional. She cut me off. No matter what the other person did. Hitting someone in public is wrong. I tried to calm myself. Then what about her pulling my clothes off in public? Whole class was there. It wasn't the first time she did this. She keeps saying it's a joke. But if I were a guy doing this, would the school still say it's just a joke? Her eyebrow twitched as if I'd hit a nerve. But she quickly recovered. We certainly don't support any form of physical violation. But she didn't mean any harm. Whether she meant harm isn't for her to decide. I kept my voice low. It's for me to decide. He was silent for a few seconds. Then said calmly, the school is looking into the situation. But I suggest you don't escalate this conflict. You know, once these things get bigger, it won't be good for you either. I understood what she was implying. Exactly like my previous life. Don't let this become harder to resolve. Minor friction between girls doesn't need to escalate to disciplinary action. You need to be more tolerant. Don't throw away your own future over a little misunderstanding. Every sentence cut like a knife. She stood by the office window, flipping through that incident handling record. Under cause of incident. It just said Claire's inappropriate attire LED to classroom disruption. I almost laughed. She pulled my clothes. The video went viral and it got written as my inappropriate attire. So what you're saying, Professor, is that I'm at fault for wearing this shirt? She glanced up at me but didn't answer directly. She just said gently, you're an excellent student. We all have high hopes for you. It's your junior year now. Honor selection is coming up. Don't leave a stain on your record. Over an emotional impulse. I finally understood this wasn't a misunderstanding. It was willful ignorance. She wasn't blind to right and wrong. She just didn't want to deal with someone troublesome. I walked out of the office. The sunlight was beautiful. But my back felt cold. On the campus path. People stared at me, secretly whispering. I looked down and opened my phone. Clicking on that video. The system had auto-collapsed the comments section. But the comment count had soared to over 800. The top liked comment read. If you dressed more appropriately, nobody would pull at you. I stared at those words, my fingertips ice cold. In that moment, I realized not all harassment gets recognized as such. Especially when you're a girl and your abuser is also a girl. The next morning in early class. The moment I walked into the classroom, I felt something was off. Several people glanced at me and whispered something. Then quickly looked away. She sat in the third row. Eyes red and puffy, looking like she hadn't slept. All night, tissues were piled on her desk. Her open notebook showed the first page. Claire, I'm sorry. I intended to ignore her and walk to the back row. But she suddenly grabbed my sleeve. Her voice trembling. Claire. I really didn't mean it. I shook off her hand without saying anything. Her eyes immediately reddened. I really didn't know you'd mind that much. I thought we were good friends. People around us started whispering. She apologized, though he looks pretty pitiful. You think maybe that girl in the video dressed a bit, too? You know. I gritted my teeth and sat in the back row. My phone buzzed. The class group chat was blowing up. Jenny's really not a bad person. She's always nice to everyone. She cried all night. She hasn't even dared to eat. Don't you think Claire is overreacting a bit? I clicked in and saw screenshots from ins posted by her roommate. Some people act all cold on the surface, but have worse tempers than anyone. The ordinary girls deserve to be humiliated. Say 2 words and get reported with recordings. Below were pictures of her crying with tears all over her face, holding a stack of apology letters in draft form. This stirred up a massive response. Someone wrote in the comments, "Is a joke between girls really that serious?" Others said, "You really can't touch people nowadays. Make one little mistake and they report you. Makes us all walk on eggshells." Others shared the post with a hashtag. Hashtag city girls are too sensitive. Hashtag. I looked at that line, say 2 words and get reported with recordings. My fingers trembling uncontrollably. She was performing and she was better at it than anyone. This wasn't the first time she'd pulled my clothes. She was just testing whether public opinion would forgive her again. And sure enough, people believed her. In my previous life, he cried like this too, saying she was just trying to get close to me. Teachers, classmates, even my mom all said she already apologized. Why won't you forgive her? Forgive next time she could brazenly push me down the stairs and tell everyone she was careless. I took a deep breath and saved the end screenshots, the videos she'd liked last night and those group chat logs. You wanna cry? You want to cry? I whispered to the empty air of the lecture hall as the class shuffled out. Then I'll give you a reason to wail. I didn't go back to the dorms immediately. I knew Lisa and the others were waiting there, ready to stage an intervention that was really just a bullying circle disguised as concern. Instead, I went to the campus library, specifically, the audiovisual archives. In my previous life, I had been too depressed to notice the details. I had been drowning. But now, I was a swimmer, and the water was clear. I pulled up Jenny's social media history on a burner account. She was smart, she curated her feed to look like the perfect, bubbly sorority girl. But the internet has a memory. I used the Wayback Machine and deep searched her handle. I wasn't looking for her posts, I was looking for the people she used to tag but stopped interacting with. I found a name, Sarah Jenkins. 2 years ago, Sarah was Jenny's bestie. Then, Sarah suddenly transferred schools halfway through freshman year. Rumors said she had a mental breakdown. I found Sarah's current Instagram. It was private, but her bio read, "Healing is a quiet process." I took a screenshot of the class group chat where Jenny was currently playing the victim, the photos of her crying, the "I didn't mean it" texts, and I sent them to Sarah with a simple message. She's doing it to me, too. I'm not going to let her get away with it this time. I have a plan, but I need to know how she broke you. My phone sat on the library desk. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Just as I was about to pack up, the screen lit up. Meet me at the coffee shop off campus. The one with the blue awning. Come alone. Sarah looked different than her old photos, thinner, wary. When I showed her the video of Jenny pulling my collar, Sarah didn't look shocked. She looked tired. She starts with boundaries, Sarah said, tracing the rim of her cup. First it's physical touch. A pinch, a slap on the butt. If you flinch, you're uptight. If you don't, she escalates. She pulled my bikini top down at a pool party sophomore year. Boys were filming. When I cried, she told everyone I was an exhibitionist who regretted it later. The professor, I said. Miller. Did she help you? Sarah let out a bitter laugh. Miller cares about the department's grant money and the honor of the institution. She told me to transfer if I couldn't handle the social dynamics of college. I'm going to take them both down, I said. Sarah looked at me, assessing my white shirt and my calm eyes. How? Jenny has the social capital. You have a video that people are already memeing. I have something she doesn't, I said. I know the future. I know she's going to try to ruin my honors interview next week. She's going to escalate because I hit her. Her ego won't let her stop until she humiliates me completely. I leaned in. I need the pool party video, Sarah. And I need the texts where she threatened you after. Sarah hesitated, her hand trembling. I buried that part of my life. She's crying in class right now, I said softly. She's telling everyone she's the victim. If we don't stop her, there will be a third girl and a fourth. Sarah closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and unlocked her phone. AirDrop is on. That night, I returned to the dorm. The atmosphere was thick enough to choke on. Jenny was lying in bed, a cold compress on her cheek, surrounded by Lisa and 2 other girls. When I walked in, the room went silent. Claire, Lisa said, her voice dripping with fake diplomacy. Jenny made you a card. She wants to apologize for the misunderstanding. It wasn't a misunderstanding, I said, walking to my desk. I didn't look at them. I opened my laptop. You slapped her. Lisa snapped, dropping the act. She was just joking, and you physically assaulted her. You're lucky she isn't pressing charges. I spun around in my chair. Let her press charges. Please. I'd love to show the police the video of her sexually harassing me. In fact, why don't we call the police right now? I pulled out my phone and dialed 911, my thumb hovering over the call button. Jenny sat up, her eyes wide. The act wavered. Don't be crazy. I'm not crazy, I said, my voice dead calm. I'm the most rational person in this room. You want to play games? Let's play the legal system game. Sexual battery. Harassment. Cyberbullying. Jenny's face paled. She knew that if police got involved, the school couldn't sweep it under the rug. It would be a PR nightmare. Fine, Jenny spat, tossing the compress aside. You made your point. You're no fun. You're a psycho. And you, I looked at Lisa. You're an idiot. You think she likes you? Last week she told the guys in the soccer team that you pad your bra and that you're desperate for a boyfriend. Lisa's jaw dropped. What? Ask Mike, I lied effortlessly. Or maybe it wasn't a lie. In my past life, Jenny had said that eventually. She laughs at you the second you leave the room, Lisa. You're just her guard dog. I put my headphones on, blocking out the inevitable screaming match that ensued. Divide and conquer. The honors selection was the biggest event of the junior year. The winner got a full scholarship for the master's program and a direct recommendation to the top firms in the city. Professor Miller was the head judge. Jenny was also a finalist. In my past life, Jenny had accidentally spilled coffee on my laptop right before my presentation, destroying my files. When I tried to present from memory, she unzipped my skirt from behind as I walked to the podium. I had crumbled. This time, I was counting on it. The morning of the presentation, I wore a sharp black suit. Pants, not a skirt. A belt that was impossible to undo quickly. I left my laptop on the desk in the waiting room while I went to the bathroom. I left it unlocked. Inside the stall, I watched the live feed from the micro camera I had stuck to a plant in the corner of the room. Sure enough, 2 minutes later, Jenny walked in. She looked around, saw the room was empty, and smirked. She took a flash drive out of her pocket, inserted it into my laptop, and transferred a file. Then she deleted my presentation and replaced it with a corrupted file. She didn't stop there. She opened my email and sent a message to the dean, a rude, vulgar resignation letter from me. She pulled the drive, wiped the keyboard with a tissue, and walked out, checking her makeup in the reflection of the window. I sat in the bathroom stall and saved the footage to the cloud. Got you. The auditorium was packed. Professor Miller sat center stage, looking bored and important. Next candidate, Claire, Miller announced. She looked at me with disdain. She had probably already seen the resignation email Jenny sent, or at least heard rumors. I walked to the podium. Jenny was sitting in the front row, suppressing a smile. She was waiting for me to open my laptop and panic. She was waiting for the public meltdown. I didn't open my laptop. Professor, distinguished guests, I said, my voice amplified by the microphone. Today I was prepared to present my research on market volatility. However, this morning, I realized that there is a more pressing case study on ethics and institutional failure that we need to discuss. Professor Miller frowned. Claire, stick to the approved topic or step down. This pertains to the department's integrity, I said. And it requires the screen. I pulled a remote from my pocket. I didn't need my laptop. I had sent the real presentation to the AV guy, a quiet sophomore named Ben whom I had bribed with help on his calculus final. I clicked the button. The huge screen behind me didn't show charts. It showed the video from 20 minutes ago. The auditorium went silent. On the screen, high-definition Jenny was seen inserting the virus, deleting my files, and sending the fake email. Her face was crystal clear. Her malicious smirk was undeniable. Jenny stood up, screeching. Turn it off. That's fake. It's deepfake AI. Sit down, Miss Jenkins, a voice boomed from the back. It was the dean. He had been copied on the evidence email I sent 5 minutes before I walked on stage. We aren't done, I said into the mic, because bullying isn't an isolated incident. It's a pattern enabled by authority. I clicked the remote again. Sarah's video played. The pool party. Jenny ripping the top off a crying girl. The laughter. Then, a screenshot of the chat logs where Jenny bragged about it. Then, the coup de grace. An audio recording I had taken in Professor Miller's office. Voice of Miller, minor friction between girls doesn't need to escalate. You need to be more tolerant. It's your fault for wearing that shirt. The auditorium erupted. It wasn't just whispering anymore. It was gasps, shouts, and phones raised high, recording everything. Professor Miller stood up, her face draining of color. This is unauthorized recording. This is a violation of privacy. You told me that physical violation was a joke, I said, turning to face her. So surely, exposing the truth is just a prank, right, Professor? I looked at the camera live streaming the event. My name is Claire. I was told that because I am a girl, I should tolerate harassment from other girls. I was told that my underwear color matters more than my dignity. I was told to be quiet. I looked directly at Jenny, who was now trembling, her hands covering her mouth, realizing her social reign was burning to ash. I am done being quiet. The video didn't just go viral, it went nuclear. Because I had framed it as an expose on institutional failure, it wasn't just drama. It was news. The hashtag pink underwear transformed from a mockery into a symbol of resistance against victim blaming. Girls from other schools started posting their own stories of female-on-female bullying that schools had ignored. The consequences. Jenny, the deepfake defense didn't hold up for a second. The forensics on the laptop proved she did it. She was expelled for academic dishonesty and harassment. Her influencer aspirations died overnight, the comments section became a graveyard of people calling her a predator. Her parents tried to sue, but the evidence was so overwhelming that no lawyer would take the case on contingency. Professor Miller, the audio recording was damning. The board of trustees couldn't risk the bad PR. She was placed on administrative leave, and eventually, her tenure was revoked under a moral turpitude clause. She was quietly fired. Lisa, she tried to pivot, claiming she was a victim of Jenny's manipulation too. I never spoke to her again. I simply moved out of the dorm and into a single apartment off campus. 3 months later. I sat in a cafe, the same one where I had met Sarah. Sarah was there, too, looking brighter. She had re-enrolled in a different university and was studying law. You know, Sarah said, scrolling through her phone. Jenny tried to make a comeback video on TikTok yesterday. Something about growth and forgiveness. Let me guess, I took a sip of my matcha. The comments ate her alive. She deleted her account an hour later, Sarah grinned. I looked out the window. The campus looked the same, but the air felt lighter. I was no longer the girl who stared at the floor. I was the girl who had burned the kingdom down to kill the monster. I had failed the interview in my past life. In this life, I didn't need the interview. A top analytics firm had reached out to me after seeing my presentation on data gathering and strategy. They liked my ruthlessness. Hey, Sarah said. You're wearing pink. I looked down at my scarf. It was a soft, bright pink. Yeah, I smiled, and this time, it reached my eyes. It's a nice color. And no one gets to tell me otherwise. I picked up my bag. The red dot of the recorder on my phone was off. I didn't need it anymore. I had my life back, and this time, I was writing the script.